Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Guess what? This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Alun, Cochrane and Emily Dean. You can text us on 81215 or follow us on Twitter at Frank on Absolute. Yeah, so it's December.
That was nice.
I liked it. I felt like we might have worked on a cruise ship.
Who are you?
Oh, this is
who is that woman?
Who's
It's
this
my
interloper
voice.
speaking when Emily
Do
Dean
I
is
sound a
trying
bit...
to-
I have had laryngitis. Do I sound like I organise parties in Ibiza, Frank? I'm worried that I do.
You sound like you've got a hint of the... who was the woman from EastEnders who got involved in a scandal in a Range Rover?
Oh, the Gillian Taylor film.
Gillian Tailforth, yeah.
Oh.
She's got that very...
Quite husky.
Yeah, it's a sound that a lot of men like.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
The sound... I worry that I sound like I've got dyed blonde hair and I write a column in the Sun. Do you think I do?
Yeah, you've got like you should say hiya at the beginning. Yeah, and you maybe go out with someone who plays for, say, Leeds United.
Oh, okay. Thanks a bunch.
That's what I'm
Oh
thinking.
dear.
Okay.
I'm just saw Hillary Clinton on the telly then, who looks just like Alice in Wonderland in the books. But if Alice in Wonderland had said, "I'm going to keep this hairstyle until I'm 80,"
Yeah. Alice in Wonderland goes a bit Benjamin Button.
yeah. So I've been away.
Oh.
I got away from it all. I got away from the big city and the bright lights.
Yeah.
I got to the grass and the trees and the
Green Park.
no.
We guessed it.
I actually went outside of the city, which I'm not keen on. And I did once again. I asked myself a question I've asked many times: people who don't live in cities and big towns, what do they do?
Yes, I know what you mean.
What do they do with their days and their
Yeah.
nights? When they
They
finish
gather by the
work,
fireside.
I ended up. I bought a pop-up book for myself.
Extraordinary.
Honestly, Kat said, "Do you think we should get this for the?" I said, "It's too old for him. Let's have a look at it." Actually, I'm having this. I thought, I'm in the country. You need any surprise you can get your hands on. So obviously, a pop-up book is a series.
It's the perfect surprise. It's the
So
gift that keeps on giving.
it was based on the Wild West, and every page.
Oh,
got,
Frank, can I say that's so up your Strasser?
yeah.
Yeah.
And every page, when you opened it, not only did it pop up, but it had attendant sound effects.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, gunshots.
I'm quite old-fashioned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I haven't heard a for a lot. I mean, I thought that was completely unacceptable now, but
Yeah.
apparently it's all right.
It is in the countryside. Yeah.
It was very. It was someone with the telly on in an episode of EastEnders in 1981. Do you remember? Whenever they had the telly on, it was always a cowboy film. You could always hear. It's like that. So we got it home, and it was mute. The one I had was mute.
Oh no.
Oh,
And I
Frank.
thought, what does that say about the countryside?
Yes.
Completely let down. And we bought an advent calendar, something else to look forward to as the days.
Oh no.
All from one shop as well, because in the country it's just one shop.
Well, there's only one shop.
That does everything.
Yeah, exactly. And
Underwear, all sorts.
yeah. And, of course, today's the big advent calendar day, so that's quite exciting.
The start, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely, Frank.
Yeah, it's not it's three-dimensional.
Well, most advent calendars are, aren't
Well,
they?
they're sort of. They toy with three-dimensionality. They're essentially two-dimensional with peepholes. But this one you build into a proper three-dimensional figure.
What, so it becomes like a box or something?
It becomes a Christmas tree with the various gifts hanging on it. Oh God, yeah.
No.
It's amazing what they can do now, isn't it?
I don't know what they're going to come up with next.
I think that all the
If
time.
I did know that.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I don't like the lack of edges, Frank, in the country. I need edges.
Yeah,
And, and hedgerows make me a bit nervous.
Yeah. Do you like a dry stone wall?
Oh, yeah, I'll go for a dry stone wall
As
every
I've
time.
said before, I've completely separated my flat with CDs in the dry stone wall formation, and I've knocked one room into two. It's very cosy because no one plays CDs anymore, and so that's what I've done. It's great, and I use if it's a little lopsided, I'll put a single in there just to get it tight.
A CD single.
Yeah, and it's a good thing. And then I ventured into science.
Oh.
Now, I'm going to ask the listeners about this. I'm looking for interesting experiments one can do at home.
Oh, God.
In the no, come off it. On the popular
God.
science front, I'll give just before we go into music, like along the lines of rob a balloon on your jumper.
Oh,
and then,
yes,
and then
I know
stick
that.
it to a wall.
Yeah, that's good.
That's what I'm looking for. That's the kind of science I'm exploring currently.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've had some texts and emails in already
That's good.
from our listeners.
Because
They
when
don't
it's
seem to be
snowy,
about science,
sometimes
so.
you can forget there's anything other than, your tucked away warmness.
Oh, yeah.
Dear Frank, Emily and Alan, this is from 463, a.k.a. Katie in Canterbury. Last week I made my first ever eBay bid on a Doggy Chief dog bandana signed by Frank and was delighted to win it for £16 for a charity auction. Thank you. It was you who signed it, and I'm curious to know why you chose to sign a dog bandana rather than a tie, as other contributors did.
I didn't realise I'd signed a dog bandana. I think it might be a forgery. Is it one of the least exciting forgeries of all time?
Is this like your Elvis shirt all over again? Or
I might have
something?
signed... I had an Ozzy Osbourne bandana. I might have signed that. But I
must
thought
have
it
had
was,
a bit of wear
I
and
thought it was
tear.
for human beings.
Okay.
It wasn't one of those. They're usually red, aren't they? That you
Yes.
see people put their dogs in a sort of neckerchief
Yeah.
bandana, trying to say, using their dog to say that they're colourful characters instead of treating that pet as an individual creature.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't remember. I'm sure it's me. No one who would be so tragic as to forge my signature on a dog bandana.
Well, perhaps a charity that wanted to make 16 Scottish pounds for it.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see. We get to the bottom
Legal
of this.
tender.
This could be quite a big scandal.
Couldn't it? Yeah.
All right. Anyway,
that's right.
Katie of Canterbury, if it turns out to be a not, I'll send. I'll actually sign a dog with a laser and send that.
Yes.
Okay, that's that sorted. Lovely.
There's another text, but did you want to... it's quite lengthy. Hi, Frank,
We've
Alan...
got 3 hours.
True enough.
You
Hi,
think
Frank,
that's
Alan,
lengthy?
and the Divine Miss M. Been away and just caught up on podcasts. Read dreams about Frank. I like read dreams about Frank. I had the strangest dream the other day. Me and my good lady had gone for a country stroll. Whilst walking back, I bumped into Frank and his partner. The first thing that struck me was Frank had a walking stick with a horse's head handle. And
It's gone a
also
bit Godfather.
trousers
it.
tucked into his socks. Countryside, that's what happens, isn't it? We were chatting, pretty standard nondescript chat.
Hold on.
I wondered if you'd have a problem with that.
Me.
Suddenly Frank began shaking and then started what I could only describe as Tasmanian devil style spinning around a picnic table. Frank's girlfriend then said he had a condition called civilianitis, where if he spoke for too long to civilians, he morphed into the cartoon devil and became uncontrollable. I then awoke.
That so really happened.
How has this got out?
And then I've received a night's move here. It says,
Yes.
P.S. As Emily sounds too high maintenance,
How
would
dare
Alan
you.
like a slap-up lunch at the railway pub Murfield,
He would.
followed by a town match?
As long as you're
Martin in
paying, he would.
Huddersfield?
You'll do that, wouldn't you?
I would do that, yeah. In
You'll
fact,
definitely do that.
I've been in that pub many times. I wouldn't say it bread and dripping in there. Oh,
I think you'll need to put down in writing the fact that you're paying for both. I
I'm
don't
not
think.
happy with being painted as so stingy.
Otherwise, he will be a total no-show. If you're not paying,
what
he
he's
ain't
going to
playing.
be, he will turn up, but he'll be
Yes.
anxious in case there's a bit of a.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
100%
you owe me
Frank.
34 quid, and then
Take the edge off my pub
if you want Alan to come along, you need a contract. Clearly says that you'll be
Frank,
paying.
we've had an experiment suggestion. Have we
Hold-
got, shall we
well,
hold,
let's do
hold-
adverts first,
Okay.
and we'll come back to suggestions, because I've got a few others that I'd like to run by you.
This is
Frank Skinner. Absolute Radio.
Frank, earlier on this show, you were urging the nation
I
to
like
send
this
in
recap, by the way.
science experiment suggestions.
Yes. I mean, you could do at home, not that you need a laboratory.
Lee in Leeds has sent one in. Frank, why not try cleaning dirty pennies? One for you here, Alan.
What?
Oh, come on.
With Daddy's sauce?
With various household food items.
Yes.
For example, ketchup, Coke, curry, sauce. Leave pennies in separate containers overnight covered in salad instead food. Salad.
Yeah, put them in the fridge.
And grade cleanliness accordingly in the morning. I was most pleased with the results from mouthwash. That's Lee from Leeds, yeah.
Yeah, I have tried brown sauce on an old penny.
Oh, yeah. How did that turn out?
I'm sure there's something rude in that, but I can't find
It
it.
does sound like there's a joke.
Yeah, but, and it does. They come up smart. But
Yeah.
I tell you what about. I tried that one. See, when I was in the country, I was basically walking around and asked people if they had any things I could do at home.
Yeah.
When I was there. I actually went around and visited these people I knew, and to my joy,
Yes.
the boy of the family had been sent home from school with a science project when he had to make a parachute that would land an egg without breaking it. So we were able to. It became a project. The whole community was involved.
Oh,
Two parish council meetings.
Did you find some way of
people thought, what's something to do?
Pointy end down, was that what the plan was? Because it's harder there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I explained this thing that if you stand on an egg and it's on its end, it'll never break 'cause it's so strong.
Shut
So they
up.
tried that. It completely
That
shattered.
Really?
So that didn't go so well.
Oh, but I like the testing if it's off thing.
Oh yeah,
The floaty
yeah, yeah.
It floats in the water, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I did the Marmite one the other day. Actually,
What is that?
It's the
What's
delights of my family. You know, if you get a dod of Marmite on a little plate,
Sorry, a what?
like a dod, like a glop,
Dot. A
A
dot.
Ken dodd? I
dollop.
didn't know he was a measuring unit.
dollop of
Oh, yeah,
Marmite, let's say. If you then repeatedly hit it with a teaspoon, for
It
instance,
changes. It goes pale.
it goes white. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
This is my favourite thing we've ever done on
It's
this
true.
show.
And
I
It's
cannot
especially
believe
useful for if you're bored in the countryside, because you can then try it on cowpats afterwards. No, don't. I'm only kidding. But that does explain why.
it. I don't believe that.
No, it's true. Well, that's
last
what
bit.
Michael Jackson's father's long reign of brutality turned him into a white boy. That's how that worked. I tried the one with the kids once we'd got the parachute relatively functional.
Yes.
That one when you stand against the wall and press your arm really hard against the wall. Have you ever done that one? You stand side on and you press the arm nearest the wall really hard. Then when you walk away, the arm just floats up in the air.
yeah,
Very exciting.
We could do that during the next song. I could do it. Just
I
there on
believe
that
it.
wall.
I understand it's how Nazi Germany started. they were just messing about.
Oh, the Diet Coke and the Mentos. Have you done that?
Mentos?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You get like a foaming fountain thing.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's
if
a
I know
reaction.
I don't know.
You put like some
Mentos.
They're
sweets
mints,
in.
Frank. You can do it with polos, I think, as well.
It goes crazy.
Love
Really.
it.
Yeah. What about the one when if you got a friend who's asleep, if you put their hand in a bucket of cold water, they wet themselves?
I've heard about that.
Yeah.
That is.
But most of my friends are just naturally incontinent, so we don't need it.
No, exactly. I didn't need that when I was a youth. Maybe someone was doing it in the night. I had no idea.
Can I just say, I like this because I think we might attract a new demographic. I
Oh,
like a
right.
science geek
Johnny
chic
Ball.
type. No.
Let's face it,
Brian
Johnny
Cox.
Ball. I know Johnny Ball's become a slightly dangerous figure now. He's a climate change denier, isn't he?
Is it?
Oh, is he?
I believe so.
Oh.
But he did more for science in this country than Professor Stephen Hawking.
Yeah. And Magnus
Surely.
Pike.
Yeah, he was a... Pardon?
Magnus Pike, remember him?
Yeah, he was an idiot.
I don't remember him.
Anyway, if you've got any good experiments that you want to pass on, I know it's not a very visual medium, radio, but I'm talking about something for me to do rather than entertainment.
Yes.
Okay, why can't you help me out for a change? Why is it all take from you people?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
And relax, we're in email corner, which is what all we do is move to. We've got more relaxed sort of leather seating, which we sit
Yes.
on. I've got a nice Chesterfield, and Alan and Emily have got a Parker Knoll.
Nice.
Yeah, you're going to put the footrest up or just sit like that?
I've always got my puff.
Yes.
Got my feet up on it. This is from Kieran, Frank. Kieran, he's a fellow baggy.
Okay.
He says, "Dear Frank, Emily and Alan."
That doesn't mean he's old. It means he
No.
supports West Bromwich Albion, in case you uninitiated. Yes?
I heard you talking about people turning on Christmas lights, and I wondered... He goes a bit George Harrison in this section.
Yeah.
And I'd wondered if you'd heard about the strange incident in Wolverhampton.
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob SquarePants
Yes.
was due to turn on the lights recently. However, upon trying to get onto the stage, SpongeBob was unable to climb the steps because of his costume. Health and safety regulations then meant that SpongeBob could not be lifted onto the stage.
To be fair, they say unable. He was not allowed to try.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Because of his width, it was decided that he
It's
should
good,
not
yeah.
take... It's only like 5 stairs up the stage.
Health and safety gone mad, isn't
Health
it?
and safety not
Yes.
only gone mad, but with a long history of mental illness. Health and safety.
Lots of
prevention's
angry
better than
parents
cure,
were
I
interviewed
suppose.
and didn't actually believe that SpongeBob had turned up and felt duped.
Well, I saw some fabulous pictures in the local press of SpongeBob there, but at ground level.
Yeah.
So he was like standing next to some people in the crowd. Obviously, there was a few people craning their necks. They could see this. They probably thought someone was bringing in a large cheese, which is always a problem with
Yeah.
SpongeBob.
Yeah.
But SpongeBob, of course, who, as they said, ruined the night of a lot of people. He had that same broad grin on his face. There was no hint of remorse.
Well, that's one of the problems with SpongeBob, isn't it? He can't betray his emotions facially.
He's a one-trick pony.
Yeah.
It's limited range.
I say pony, I should say phony.
Oh.
Because he lives on the bottom. You know, he lives in Bikini Bottom.
I don't
Is that-
know.
oh,
I don't know
disgusting.
SpongeBob's address.
No,
but
that's where it's set.
Oh,
Bikini. No, it's
God.
because it's beneath
It's a
Bikini.
bit sleazy, isn't it?
It's
beneath
beneath-
Bikini Bottom. That's the sleaziest
No.
thing I've ever heard.
No, it's beneath Bikini Atoll. You know Bikini
Yes, I
Atoll,
do
where
know
they
that.
did the nuclear testing.
right.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, that's where SpongeBob lives. I'm not making this up.
My
Is that why his head's
godchildren
like that?
once had that on, and I turned it off, and they said, "What?" I said, "No cartoons after 7 p.m. That's adult time. I will not have cartoons in the house after 7 p.m. I'm sorry."
Oh, you're strict.
Yes, I am strict.
Do you want to watch the One Show? Is that what's happening?
Well, anyway, SpongeBob. So he's selling himself as a natural sponge from the sea, but he's in the shape of a synthetic commercial cleaning sponge.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
On the back of his head, is there like a scouring bit? Or is
No,
it, you only ever
it's
really
not a
see-
greenback.
Go
Is that what you're
green.
thinking? That would be great. The idea that he could... my back's a bit itchy, and when he walks away, that the bark is completely cleaned off the tree by his scouring section. He has no scouring section.
That's a shame, isn't it?
I'd think better of him if he did. What about Matey? Matey virtually rendered him worthless. Do you remember Matey?
Oh, I
The,
loved
bubble bath.
Matey.
He cleans the bath as well.
Oh,
Was there a
did it?
Mrs. Matey as
Never
well?
That was the advert.
Yeah.
New Matey's a bundle of fun. And at the end, he
Yeah.
can say, it cleans the bath as well. And
Oh.
there's the bath, absolutely. Don't even have to go around it once, around the ring
I
section.
don't remember the advertising.
I thought that was
remember the
always a bit of a
actual product.
slovenly housekeeper who just
Yeah, yeah.
relied on Matey. You need a sieve as well.
I just use it for everything now. I use it in the shower. I don't even rinse. Just put my clothes. I don't even dry. I think Matey will take care of that. Is it still commercially available?
I don't think so.
If you work for Matey, don't send me any.
No.
You know, do you think I can't buy my own Matey?
I just think they know you can.
Yeah, get lost.
You're good for it, aren't you? Shall I move on to another email?
I've paid for my own Mateys before now.
Oh, God.
Yes, do another email, for God's sake.
Dear Frank, Alan...
I think I've wrung as much as I can out of SpongeBob.
Well... you squeezed the SpongeBob for
I was
all it's
very
worth.
absorbed by the SpongeBob theme. Don't get me wrong.
Well, we thought wrong, didn't we? There's
Yeah.
more. Dear Frank, Alan and the gorgeous Emily, first I want to say a big thank you. A recent breakup has left me unable to listen to music for fear every song might induce hysterical sobbing.
I'll try The Fall. That tends to straighten you out pretty sharpish.
That's a bit... Hold on. Is that sad enough?
Really?
I don't think it's quite sad
Really?
enough, is it? It feels jaunty.
Welcome to my 1960s chat show. Why would that cheer you
I
up?
wish you had a 1960s chat show. It's so hard to get one commissioned nowadays.
The extensive podcasts have undoubtedly seen me through those tough days and also brought smiles and laughter.
Oh, is this a man or a lady?
It's a
For
lady.
this public service, I thank you and wonder if
called
the
Abby.
team have any breakup survival tips. Abby, long-time listener, first-time emailer. P.S. I'm doing much better now, but there's always the fear of relapse.
Oh,
See,
Abby. Can we call you Downton?
She says that the podcasts are in place of songs that could induce hysterical sobbing, but I actually cried a little bit last week when I read that email where that woman was saying that her son had been born the night
Yes.
of your gig in Blackpool and how
Is it
proud she
Jacob?
was of her
Jacob.
18-year-old boy.
It was lovely. We heard
I felt
from
a bit
that.
weepy.
We heard from them again, and the husband said that she cried when I read it out.
Yeah.
What's happened to this show? It's like
Yeah.
Simon Bates'
It's a
Howard
bit
song.
like that, isn't it?
It's gone a bit hatch, match, dispatched, and I quite like that.
But I'm sorry that Abby's had a breakup. But let's face it, we all have them.
we do, but
as
can I
regards
just say, Frank,
breakup survival
you
tips,
are...
I think we could do
Frank
that.
is the best person to ask in this scenario. He is.
Yeah, but you know what they say on things like LBC? They'll go. Of course, I'm not able to comment on any individual case. But no, I mean, I tend to wallow in it.
Yes, you do.
On the occasions
You
I've
do.
got dumped, I start smoking again. I
Yeah.
walk around. If it's summer, it's a nightmare. You want it to be winter so you can wear an overcoat with the collar turned up.
Yes.
Smoke a cigarette and feel like, you've got the... I listen to a lot of Roy Orbison, which is... I mean, if you want sad music, that's what you're on. And I absolutely imagine I'm in a film where I've been dumped.
Yes.
I think the secret is to embrace it. Hey, let's face it, you're not going to be embracing anything else. Sorry. Sorry. Look. The other thing that always got me through it was, saucy videos. But it doesn't work for everyone.
Oh, that's nice.
But I found it a great consolation.
Videos.
Yes. Well, it's been a long time since I've been dumped.
You have to... Frank always said to me as well, once when I was dumped, Frank said, you're at the forensic stage, which I really like.
Yeah, when you're pulling it apart.
But he said that on Tuesday. Why is he doing that? Frank said you're
yeah.
allowed to stay there for a bit, but then you have to eventually leave the incident room.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
I'm going to leave this with, I think, the only way we can end this. Go, girl.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've heard from the outside world.
Again?
Yeah. We were talking about doing the science experiments, weren't we? Because
We
of
were.
your turning up in the countryside and basically being bored.
I'm never bored. I just didn't have anything to do. It's clicking the pen on air is really annoying, isn't it?
Is that one of your science experiments? Seeing how annoyed that
Yeah.
people can
But
become?
how do people... they wouldn't have known it was a pen. They'd have thought I'd had an artificial limb fitted and mentioned
Yes, that's exactly what they would have thought.
Maybe they think it's your new hip.
That'll be spine. Then I'd have said, we've got Gloria Estefan in the studio coming on a little bit. Any carry on?
Someone has texted, it's Kaz, has texted, Frank, ask Stephen Fry, he's been doing great experiments on the new QI.
Oh. Let's not do any more experiments.
Although people have texted in some good ones.
No,
but
I spoilt the
I
whole
like that
thing
my
for
laugh
me.
sounds 20% more evil.
Yeah. That to me that's poisoned the well of experiments.
Oh, that's a shame.
Can I tell you what's poisoned the well of experiments? Morning gang.
That's ruined my day.
Frank. 570 says, morning gang, to test your age, pinch the skin on the back of your hand. If it goes straight back, you still have your youth. If it stays pinched, welcome to old age.
And now everyone in the
So
studio is
that's
doing
kind
this.
of ruined my morning, let me tell you, because that's still quite raised.
Yeah, I've got...
Mine's
I've
gone
realised I don't have any skin, I just have...
I've done that, and I've now got sort of appellations on my hands.
I have bones and tendons completely exposed, like a William Blake painting, or Madonna.
Frank, Alan used the unit of measurement earlier. He said a dod of Marmite.
You know, I
Yeah.
hate to say this. Me and Emily have been friends. I'm saying this directly
Yeah,
to
go on.
Alan Cochrane. Me and Emily have been friends for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been a very, very platonic relationship. But this voice is starting to get to me as well. It is. It's making. I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. Carry on.
Oh dear. So Alan used the unit of measurement a dod, Frank, and we've had a text in.
Ooh, baby.
That is disgusting.
creepy, yeah.
You like that, huh?
Disgusting.
Sorry.
Baby.
Cease and desist.
Okay.
Mark Newman
The
says...
two best fullbacks England ever had. Mark Newman.
Yeah. Good morning, all. Can I say that a dod is a well-known term? Only recently I heard on the news that Jimmy Carr was found to have paid a dod of tax. Regards, Mark.
Yeah.
He's a...
Excellent. I like this idea of using people as units of measurement. I did a very similar thing with page 3 girl Nicola McLean on Wednesday. I was in a quiz. I was it wasn't televised. It was in a quiz in which a man came on who was a member of the Beard Society, and we had to estimate the length of his beard in millimetres. And Nicola McLean happily knew exactly the length of her extensions in millimetres, so we got her to go out to go up to him and measure her extensions, and we got the right answer.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
So how often do you get a chance to use a page 3 girl as a measuring implement?
Oh, yeah.
That's the phoning. Is it 4 times? Or is it B 7 times? No, it was different.
Frank, we've had a text in, and the subject line is horrible breakups. Because we had someone writing in earlier asking for advice, having just broken up with someone.
Oh, it's not about that moment when... Was it the continent of Gondwana land or something that broke out into the other continents?
No, it's the other moment.
It's not the separation of continents.
No, it's not that.
No,
Although
this
those
isn't
continents
geographical.
did get separation anxiety.
This is
didn't
the
they?
map of the human heart, I think you'll find.
Oh, very good.
This is from Neil.
One of my favourite novels, The Separation of the Incontinents.
He says, the worst breakup I ever suffered was in a pub. I overheard her saying, "He's just awful." I stormed off into a cold December night, having forgot my jacket. Emily, as a serving police officer, I'd love to take you out to dinner, then hopefully later take down your particulars.
I
God, don't make me say it. But you know the two words that are in my head right now.
News International.
Filthy creep.
Yes.
But she might not have been talking about him when she said he was awful.
He stormed off. She
What
could
if
have
she
been
was
saying...
talking about Roy Chubby Brown?
She could have been saying he's just awful, brackets, at tennis, close brackets.
She could have been saying,
Like,
he's just awful, but I like him.
Yeah.
In a camp
Also,
way.
I felt he should have told us in a more formal fashion. I was proceeding along the lounge bar in an orderly fashion when I heard the witness speak.
Yes.
What's
Yeah.
happened to police? He never even
I bet
said
he's
she was a
tiny
bit of
as
a
well.
character.
I bet he's like 5'6" because they're getting smaller all the
but
time.
he's
aren't
Don't, you're ruining my chances. Neil sounds nice.
they? Neil, there you go.
I like a
Told
man
you
in
he was short.
uniform. I love a man in uniform. Police is nice.
There you go.
There you go.
That's going to be another 9 million emails from actually everybody in the police. Anything else?
Yeah, we had another dating one, didn't we, Al?
Yes.
By the way, when Abby texted in about her breakup...
Downton.
I
Yes.
hope I wasn't dismissive about
No,
that.
I don't
think you were. I mean, I had
I'm just
some
telling you,
advice
the way
for
I
it.
deal with it is to completely self-dramatise, but obviously some people don't like that.
Whereas I would suggest delete his number and play the field for a bit. You know,
I can only apologise.
it's a good bit of advice,
So
that.
it's all gone a bit... Christian O'Connell.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 81215 or follow us on Twitter at Frank on Absolute. And
You
the
say
texts are flooding in.
Oh, aren't they?
It's like sitting under an apple tree when windfall is at its fiercest.
yes.
Yeah.
Frank, we've had one in from Ashley Turner,
Okay.
who says, I'm 11 years old and have just tried hitting a dob of Marmite, which was,
A Dodd.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
said a dog.
Alan's unit of measurement, with a teaspoon. It doesn't turn white. I think it looks white on a white plate as it spreads out as you hit
Stick
it.
with it, Ashley.
Yeah.
See, that's the trouble with kids now. They've hit it twice and thought it doesn't work.
And
Keep staying there.
And then complained. Hit it more.
Come on, Ashley.
Hit it until your arm hurts.
Ashley!
That's the way to deal with it.
Ashley, will you hit that, my Marmite?
You sound like Cheryl Cole.
Well, I started out as the Fat Butcher from not Pat Butcher,
Fat
from
Butcher.
The Fat Butcher from, and then I threw in a bit of Arkwright.
Frank, stop doing the pen, darling. You're
I'm
kicking the pen.
sorry.
It's becoming a thing.
Now, come on, Ashley. You have to eat it loads of times for it to go white.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have to get it nice and. Are you sure you've got Marmite? You haven't reached for the lemon curd.
And I would suggest don't do it on a white plate if you're going to turn it white. We did it on a blue plate.
Look, he can do it on what he likes.
Blue plate? What sort of a household do you run?
Well, one that bought a dinner set from IKEA about 12 years ago.
Oh, did you? And what about the East European prisoners?
Didn't think of them then.
No, exactly.
Obviously now I've thought of
Frank?
I've smashed up all my IKEA furniture and burnt it in the middle of the garden.
it. Right.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Along with a big flag of East Germany.
Frank?
Yes.
Gordon has texted in. Hi guys.
Brilliant.
One of the most refreshing aspects of your wonderful radio show is your honesty and openness.
Told you I won't have praise on this show.
My question is, have any of you ever had any dealings with the police?
Oh, God, yeah. A policeman actually said to me, unironically, I eat people like you for breakfast. Who would have thought that people said that outside of a bad cop show? But a cop
Yes.
honestly said it to me.
Oh, I was told by a policeman. I had a Vespa scooter that I was riding in central London, and the back tyre was a little bit flat, and I got a traffic policeman who I got a fine for it, and he said to me,
You're not doing enough telly. That's your.
he said, yeah, exactly. He said to me, "You're new to motorcycling, Mr. Cochrane. Let me give you some advice. Look after your tyres, and your tyres will look after you."
Yeah. Well, when you're in an old people's home run by the council, right, sitting in your own urine, you look back and you think, where are my tyres now? When I need them. So that's rubbish.
Yes.
I wish I'd pointed that out to him.
You should have done. You can't
Okay,
point-
and finally my police
can't point
story.
anything out to them.
I was going home, I couldn't be bothered to get a cab. I asked the police drivers to give me a lift and they did.
Couldn't be bothered
Yes.
to get a cab.
I swear.
Did I tell you that story about when I hit a police van?
No.
I was
Have you
driving.
told anybody this story yet?
Yeah, I was
Because this
dri-
is concerning me.
It wasn't parked. There was police in it.
Can I say your manager's just pulled his chair up?
I was driving. I was driving up the. Let's face it, there are worse things to confess to in the current climate. I was driving up the road and I was waiting for this police van to pull into. You know when you see a car coming as a line of traffic, you think, well, obviously he's going to pull into that gap, otherwise I'm going to have to back up 50 yards.
Yeah.
The police van kept coming, and I thought to myself, I can get through that gap, fine, and I couldn't. So I just. It wasn't really a scrape. It was more like the black rubber from my bumper I left down the side of the police van. But what I then decided, my next decision was, I'm out of here. So I put my foot down and thought, they'll never catch me. They'll never take me alive. So I turned a couple of corners, and then the police van came out and blocked the road.
Frank, you're
And
like
cut
one of
me off.
those characters on Lights, Camera, Action.
I
whatever
know, yeah.
These
Wow.
things are.
And then the copper got out, and I thought I'm in massive trouble. And he said, "Oh man, I love fantasy football," and let me off.
Let that be a lesson to everyone there.
Yeah, so don't come crying to me with your police stories. Get on telly.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Can I say, some of you are listening to this show on digital channels, and so we're playing different music. But on the morning show, I just played The Fall. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, I had a plate with Marmite on it, and was eating the Marmite with a spoon to prove it goes white. So we had The Fall blasted out, and me doing this, mate. Listen to this. With this. And Daisy, the producer, said this could easily be a Fall video.
Production values were a little too high, though.
But am I not right? The Marmite,
Frank.
look at that Marmite. It's already gone past Caramac
Yeah.
Frank, you can't say, look at that, our Marmite, like you're on Delia Smith cookery. No one can see.
No, but it's like pen pictures that you get
in between Karamak and whitewash.
I'm going to ask the sceptical Emily Dean to say, look at that Marmite now.
Oh my God.
Exactly. OMG.
It's like Nutella, except lighter.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's
Can
much
I just say, you had a lovely action when you were doing that.
Thanks. Well, yes. As you said, it was like being in Pete Doherty's den.
It was. You had a lot of paraphernalia.
Except it was Marmite.
You looked like you knew what you were doing. Frank, I think it's time we discuss Dean Gaffney.
Yeah, Dean Gaffney is... he's retraining, isn't he?
I think you'll find he's back.
Yeah.
But the thing about gaffers...
You know I envy Dean Gaffney.
Why? Because it's his gaff, his rules?
Because Dean Gaffney seems to be one of those celebrities who's very, very happy in celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Idiot savant.
He's really taken to it. No, I can imagine, he gets a China Whites and think nothing of it.
Mm.
Yes.
I bet he's on first name terms with Nell McAndrew.
Right.
Yes.
And
Yes, it will only be 90s people. He doesn't know anyone.
But I've never... See, he's mocked old Gaffo, but in a way, he has embraced fame in a way I've never quite been able to.
He's not troubled by sort of self-consciousness.
They're happier. They're happier.
Yeah.
I've always thought they're much happier at that end of the scale.
Is it the unexamined life is happier? Is that what you're saying?
I think he is.
And also, he's more famous for his dog. He's got that Bob Carroll G's thing where the dog has eclipsed him.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, I think...
No, Wellard. Most people...
I think he gets a lot of stick, old Gaffo. He was in that Ricky Gervais thing, wasn't he?
Extras, was it?
Yeah,
Or
wasn't he in
something?
that?
I don't know.
Everyone was in that.
Yeah. But we should explain perhaps why we're discussing it.
Yes, we should.
Because
Didn't he play a shotgun victim in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels?
Did he?
I heard he was up for a part in Miranda.
I might have made
That's harsh. That's harsh.
That's cold.
We should say, in case you're a new listener, that the Cockerel was up for a part in Miranda. There was only two up for the part. He was almost there. He was waiting for the phone call, and Gary Barlow got it.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yes.
I need to watch the series to verify this, but
Well, that's what it said in the papers.
Yeah.
So, Gaffo...
It was a photo. It's a photo finish with Gary Barlow.
Yeah. Gaffo, Frank, did you read this? He said he decided to apply to MI5 for a job.
He wants to be a spy.
Yeah.
He must think that his profile is so low now that he can be a spy and go unnoticed. I mean, surely
He's
that's
less
not
well
true.
known than a civilian.
I felt sad when I read it. I feel it's his way. Isn't that saying I'm not going to get any more acting work? So
He said, "I love spy films and the whole James Bond thing."
Oh well.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's sufficient qualifications.
That's all I'd want on the application form.
He also said most spies spend their lives pretending to be people they're not. I do that for a living, and I thought, well, you don't really, do you?
Well,
you did for a while, over 10 years ago, but since then you've been yourself for a living, haven't you?
Perhaps he means when he signs on. Because how many of us can honestly say we're ourselves at the supplementary benefit office? I felt I played a part.
Did you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, but Frank,
like I played the part of someone who wasn't working on the side. I played that part.
Anyone ever had any run-ins with the police? The other thing I find, though, Frank, I find it a bit heartbreaking because I worry, though, he's got a little taste of it now. And he's back in the papers. He did an interview after this because there was a lot of press about him wanting to be a spy, naturally. And he said, everyone's been talking about it now. That's the thing about being me. Even if I'm not doing anything, people talk about me.
Oh.
That's good.
Yeah.
I can see the appeal of working undercover to someone who spent so many years in a high-vis jacket. It's like the other side of the coin, isn't it?
Did his character wear a high-vis jacket?
Oh, yeah, he was a street sweeper.
I didn't watch it. I went out with an EastEnder, but I don't watch it.
Yes,
I did.
Let's not investigate.
Yes,
well done.
He was very nice. He's one of God's creatures. Don't judge.
Yeah, I liked it when he used to say, "Wallop." Yeah.
I still don't know.
Pat. That was his best moment.
I didn't go out with Mike Reed.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, sorry. Oh, that was me. I got the wrong Mike Reid as well. I've really mixed this one up. Yeah, it reminded me a bit when I met Zammo on a radio show and he told me he was doing The Knowledge.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
You see,
I think he ended up key cutting, didn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, he did. He had a cobbler's, I think. It's different. I see, but some people find this comical. This fall from grace.
Yeah.
I find it painful, mainly because obviously I can imagine it happening to myself.
Yes, very much so.
But also, EastEnders is so big and so popular. It must be tough to go from to be in everyone's living room every night to this.
But that said, I think there is a certain level of discretion involved in being a spy, and Dean Gaffney admitted to having affairs when he was on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of It.
You're right.
And he's told everyone he's going to be a spy.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's right.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's the right material for being a spy. I'm just saying lay off the gaff. That's my new campaign, because I think there's more there to be mined in Gaffney. Yeah, if only he'd been hacked. Oh, well, maybe next time.
Frank
Skinner
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I don't want to keep having a go at Dean Gaffney, but he said that spies spend their lives pretending to be people they're not. I do that for a living. I think he's slightly overlooked the spying bit of being a spy as well. They don't just pretend and go into offices and then stand about. They then have to look through the drawers and get the data, and
that's
Frank's worst thing.
Exactly, that would really stress you out, wouldn't it?
Frank gets phobic. He can't watch films where that happens.
And for me, the downside to being a spy would be remembering all those passwords. I mean, Bond must know, 20 different codes and passwords? And I can't get into my own PayPal, so I think that would be a problem.
I just write them all down on a bit of paper and keep it in my wallet.
Yeah, I don't think they do that if they're proper spies. I think
do they not do that? How old are these spies?
I think that's one of their things, that they actually commit them to proper memory.
But I like the idea that he's decided he might have missed his true calling.
Yeah.
When they used to do that in whenever they interviewed footballers, I don't know if it's probably not true now anymore, but whenever they interviewed footballers, they would always ask, what would you have been if you weren't a footballer? And they always said electrician. I've no idea why.
Oh, they don't say that now. They say party organiser now.
There were set things. Biggest influence on your career, my dad.
Oh, yeah.
Favourite food, steak. Favourite TV show, Fools and Horses. They were all the same. All the same person.
Yeah. But
I wouldn't mind being, I've often thought, lorry driver.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I can see you up there.
You like a Yorkie, do
I can see you up there in the cab.
There's something, cave time. You know a man needs cave time when he's just on his own. That's what it feels like to me. It's a bit of a garden shed that they've got there.
Yeah.
And I think I'd quite like that song. And also, you get in the inside lane and then you just relax.
Would you have one of those lorries with the wires? I hate those wires.
Some of them relax a bit too much, though. That's the problem.
I'll tell you what I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have a teddy bear fixed to the grill, the front grill.
No.
Especially not a white one.
I don't like that.
Shows the dirt.
I just don't like it. I'm all right with Mr. Michelin on top of the cab, but as I've said on this show before, anyone who can knock a nail through a teddy bear's face could also do it to a human being. And if you could if you're happy with a teddy bear taking the full wind force of being on the grill, covered in dirt and mire and mud flying off the road, I think you could treat a person like that. So, not me.
I've always thought I'd be quite a good detective inspector.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm naturally suspicious by nature.
You are.
I'm not going to lie, I am. And I'm good. I do interrogate as well.
Yeah.
And people have cracked under my interrogation in the past.
You fire a few questions at people, don't you?
I do. Don't you think I'd be good?
I had a friend who was burgled and a policeman came round to carry out an investigation, and she ended up having a physical experience with him.
No.
Yeah, on that trip, on that visit.
Experience with
Well, it's breakfast radio. Trying to keep it clear. Yeah, I mean, on that visit, they didn't go into a relationship and then that happened. They did it while he was round fingerprinting.
Wow.
I mean, she was
Fingerprinting, you say?
she was an opportunist. There's no other word for it.
Sounds like he was too.
Yeah.
I'd call her something else. Bruce Bruce in Devon, FYI, says, Frank, you asked what we do in the countryside. Well, we listen to CDs and Absolute 80s. That's when we're not out surfing. That's from Bruce in Devon.
I think you forgot the drunken driving. Yeah, I mean, I want to like the countryside more than I do. My girlfriend was always telling me she'd love to move to the countryside and it's great for the child to grow up and all that. I don't think one could do anything more cruel than move a child into the countryside.
Why, Frank?
Because when he's 16, he's going to say, let me get this right, we were living in London and you took me out and then we lived in the countryside where I had to basically watch trees grow. No, but people love it. There must be more to it. I had a long conversation with Ross Noble about this. And he said the great thing is he's
a country dweller, isn't he?
He said, I've got a tank and you can just drive it round and the neighbours don't mind. And I thought, I'm sure that's not the general way people do with country living.
Yeah.
But yeah, it confuses me. And I'm not being disrespectful, I'm being curious.
I understand, Frank.
No, that's actually the title of a video I used to watch. I got split up.
Well, I'm just being curious.
I'm not being disrespectful, I'm being curious. That's what it was called.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, I'd just like to put forward another career profession for myself, potentially. Pub landlady.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Oh, you're a bit grand, if you don't mind me saying.
No, you've got to be grand. I'm good with my regulars. We know that. I'm loyal to my regulars.
You are loyal to your regulars, that's
Always.
true.
And I'd be tough on what I call the sleeping on the central reservation element of the pub. The ones who just won't leave. Do you know what I mean?
You'd abide by the letter of the law and not serve anybody who's already intoxicated. Is
Yes,
that what
absolutely.
I think that men would be falling in love with you every day and it would get awkward.
Oh, fabulous.
No, I'm not happy with that, with the whole idea of it.
Okay.
You know, sorry.
I think I'd be a good head of the World Bank. Yeah.
Well,
do you know when
you might have to dip into reserves sometimes.
You know when the economy started to struggle in the UK, I was watching it on the news and I thought, well, why don't they just make up a load more money? The very next day they said we're going to do quantitative easing, which is essentially making up a load more money. And I thought, well, I've beaten them to that by a day. I could have that job.
I'd be very happy with you managing the World Bank.
I'd be all right,
I think that would stop extravagance. I think that'd be brilliant when the Minister of Defence, you see him in Poundland.
They wouldn't be spending £18 a time on light bulbs at the MOD, would they?
No, not if you was in charge.
Exactly, I'd be buying them bulk from Costco or something. I don't know where they get them, really.
I think that would be splendid.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
When you were talking about teddies being stuck on the front of vehicles, someone said, I have a meerkat teddy in my lorry. So there.
Okay.
I think they're saying in my lorry, not out.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't mind that.
I'm not a cruel person.
I don't mind that.
I hope they don't sit him up at the front of the cab like he's a human being or something.
Oh, maybe he's on the dashboard looking out the window like...
I'm...
like a companion.
They used to be happy with bunting, didn't they, at one time? They used to have bunting in the car. Or sometimes they'd have a sport-themed pennant, or maybe a pennant which was like a town that they'd been to of some kind.
Yeah,
yes.
I often saw an Aston Villa pennant in a lorry for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's a demographic thing. Perhaps it was the Midlands is a good place to get to everywhere from, isn't it?
Not happy with that.
I didn't think it would be. But on the subject of long journeys...
I think the Aston Villa pennant in the lorry cab is... isn't it a gay code for next lay-by?
Why are you both saying pennant like it's Jermaine?
Isn't it pennant?
No, pendant, isn't it?
No, pendant is a different thing.
Oh, God,
I didn't know that.
Terrible fool of yourself.
I didn't know what pennant was.
This is on a par with Descartes.
Is it? I didn't know it.
It's like a pointy flag. It's the sort of thing that sometimes captains of football teams exchange.
Yes, I know what it is. I didn't know it was
No,
that
a pendant is a thing on a chain that you have around you.
A bit of jewellery, jingle jangle.
That's all right.
I've been on the road. I'm doing a little bit of touring.
I know.
My comedy
How's
show.
it going?
Good. Art centres and comedy clubs and that sort of thing.
What's your manager doing that cutthroat sign for?
But there has been an unforeseen problem arisen in the last sort of week to 10 days.
Well, I hate to say I told you so.
No, it's not box office, although tickets are still available. But there's I've been using a support act who's a comic called Mike Newell, and he lives near me. It's good company in the car.
Did he used to play up front for Blackburn Rovers?
No, and I don't think he is the director of 4 Weddings and a Funeral either, which is also not. Is it director Mike Newell? Anyway, someone will.
You know what? I've never seen 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
All right, I've never seen Kes.
Get out! I thought you were in it.
No,
Yeah, you are Kes.
But Mike is a listener to this show and podcast, so I don't want to. But in the last 7 days, we've done 3 or 4 gigs together. Always driving there and back, either him driving or me driving. So we spent a lot of time together, both in the car and backstage. And then we did a gig the other night, and I just felt like we've run out of stuff to say to each other. I even caught myself in the first 5 minutes blurting out that we'd won a Christmas cake in a school raffle, and then I thought...
you and Mike?
No, me and my wife have recently won a Christmas cake in the school raffle, and I told him within 5 minutes.
Mazel tov.
5 minutes, though. I mean... I was saving that for the return journey, to be honest. I thought, well, that's big news.
It's dried up quite quickly, the conversation. 5 gigs?
No, I mean 5 gigs in the last week or... Right. You know, but we've been on the road, fits and starts, but this is just... It's starting to get, like...
You see, I find in the telly boss, I've done, say, 25 to 30 gigs before the support act gets to speak. It's just me talking about my career. People I've met, funny anecdotes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And pearls of wisdom.
Oh, that's good.
And then one day I'll say, so, Steve, what do you think? And they're taken aback at first.
All right. And then will they say something like, I'm actually John. I'm a different support.
I'll say, I meant John.
They go postal sometimes.
And then I'll say, it's funny, I made that mistake when I interviewed Tony Bennett. And then we're off again.
Excellent.
That's another 4 or 5 gigs.
You just spend the whole time name dropping.
It's a course.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
That's what they want. That's what they want, the support acts.
So should I be in the car going, I was speaking to Frank Skinner and Emily Dean the other day.
They don't want friendship. They just want to touch the hem of your garment. Yeah. Well, I have theatre. The last tour I didn't take a support act at all.
Right.
You dispensed with it entirely.
I thought I'll hire a professional raconteur.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you're not going to have it... I took Peter Houston off. He was absolutely fascinating.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
So I've got an idea for the journeys when I'm with Mike, and maybe we just need to play I Spy or pub cricket or something like that. Do you know that? Do you know pub cricket, where you count up the arms and legs on the name of a pub?
No, I don't know pub cricket.
So if it's like Queen Victoria, you go, well, she's got 2 legs, so you get 2. And then it goes to the next person, and if it's like the
dog and duck.
Dog and duck, you get loads of legs.
Well, what about hare and hounds? Because the number of hounds aren't specified.
Yeah. Exactly, you just have to take...
What about the Heather Mills?
Yes, exactly. Well, this is the sort of conversation we could be having in the car, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. It's already, you're off and running.
We've done about 9 seconds already.
But you have a day job, Emily. Surely there's a point where you run out of stuff to say at work to people that you see.
Never in my life
have
I ever run out of anything to say to another human being.
Really?
No, I think it's so extraordinary when people say that. Men
Really?
say it a lot. Oh, I run out of things to say. Why would you run out of anything to say? I do talk a lot about myself.
All right, well,
as Frank was saying. So that kind of...
I mean, Mike and I spent like 10 hours
You were saying that you do that with the support acts, that you talk about yourself.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's certain fallbacks, obviously. What happened to the hovercraft?
The hovercraft in the Bermuda Triangle.
You can't go, yeah. I mean, Bermuda Triangle I've had to accept has become a little outdated. I mentioned the Bermuda Triangle to people, and they don't know what I'm talking about. The hovercraft, they have a vague memory of.
Uh-huh.
But I say, and there's an in for you, because the hovercraft was invented by Sir Christopher Cockerell.
Oh.
So you could say, I'm known as the Cockerell, Mike. Name another famous Cockerell who was involved in transport.
Well, there was a moment last week when it was very bad weather and we drove through some flooding when we were heading to Durham, and a lorry put wind. You know, when they do the big splash and it goes right across your windscreen and you can't see for a little while.
Yeah.
So it was treacherous driving conditions. And later on in the journey, Mike described it as a puddle. And I said, I think that was flooding. I don't think it was a puddle.
Yeah.
But, you know, we could have brought
Sounds
up
a bit
the
like a
hovercraft
date,
then.
your relationship.
This is what happens. It's long periods of just each other's company.
You see, in the office, with the girls in the office, Frank, the other day I actually got angry with them because I didn't feel they were paying me enough attention.
Yeah.
And I get in the morning and I have to tell them everything. I offload. And one of them was working at the screen. I said, can you stop doing that and listen to me?
Wow.
Yes.
I
I was talking about my night out with Richard Bacon and George Lamb. They had to listen.
I
You
had
had a night out with Richard Bacon and George Lamb.
They were present.
I can
it was
beat
a
that.
It was a meat-based
I can beat that.
guest list.
I met Melanie Masson the other
Shut
night.
up.
Yeah. What about that? Do you know Melanie Masson?
No, I don't.
X Factor.
She's the 21st century Janis Joplin.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wow.
She's like the rock chick from this X Factor series. Long curly blonde
She's
hair.
like, I call it, Mum I'd like to hang out with a lot.
Yeah, we had a difficult conversation. I'll be
Oh,
honest.
no, am I going to cringe?
Well, she seemed really nice and much more attractive, I thought, than she looked on X Factor.
Right.
But she said to me, "I'd like to come and sing on your show." I said,
What, meaning this show?
What show? Well, I don't know. I said,
Oh,
what
no.
show? I presume she meant some TV show. She said, I said, what show do you... She said, well, how many shows have you got? And I thought, you've got the wrong person. It's another Graham Norton moment. That's what I felt. I mean, it just got a bit awkward, and then it sort of felt like, because I moved on, because I didn't want to find out who she thought I was. And then
you
I
think
think
she
she
thought-
thought maybe I was rejecting the idea of having her on the show because I don't have the show. I think it must be Graham Norton's show.
Maybe she's a fan of this show and she wants to come in and
She
do
doesn't want to come.
acapella.
How many singers do we have on here live?
We've had one singer, David Essex, and he complained about us.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
really?
Whereas Annie said Chinaman, which is no longer acceptable. And
He hated us. In fact,
but
I'll go so far as
I
to say
think
hated
Melanie
us.
thought that I was Graham Norton. It happens to me a lot.
Oh,
New
that is
listeners.
awful.
Yeah. In fact, I've been living in a civil partnership for 2 years. I don't even know who the other person is. I'm just trying to keep the peace, that's all.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text us tonight 12:15 or follow us on Twitter at Frank on Absolute. Let me hear you say yeah.
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 Thanks.
Are we heading towards email corner? I'm not making you press the jingle, but
Yeah, do we have to jingle every damn time we go there?
I was only asking.
Yeah.
Oh, I like the fact it's had a remix. Hi, Frank, Emily, and Alan. Listening to the podcast from Saturday, and Frank mentioned that some of the roughest estates in both London and Birmingham are named after famous writers.
That sounds a very
Well, of
frank thing to
course.
say.
In my uni halls, our buildings are also named Chaucer, Byron, and the like. Frank was right.
The like.
Yeah, the X Factor band.
Our halls.
They were good, I thought. Well, I don't think they didn't turn up as a band, they were individuals, and then they put them together.
Is that a real band? That would be good.
The like,
was,
yeah.
yeah.
It was a real one. I don't know if this
No,
is
that's
Oh,
a
you're
lie.
pulling my leg. I see. Our halls of residence are known as the Bronx, and there is a gate and bridge separating us from the rest of the
Hold on, this is a halls
university.
of residence at a university.
Yes.
It's not going to be that rough, is it?
No,
No.
but he's saying that it's known as the Bronx. I guess the naming thing is just a coincidence.
It'll be those boys who, you get boys who wear a trilby
Yes, I
at
know them.
university.
All the ones that are members
Characters.
of Rock Sock, they were always a bit dodgy.
Well, this is actually from
Rock
a girl,
Society.
Laura.
Yeah,
Oh.
but that's who she's on about. Be the boy in the trilby.
Yeah.
The Boy in the Trilby is my new novel. It's about an insecure young man who goes to university and tries to carve out a colourful character for himself.
Oh.
The sequel is called The Boy with the Pipe.
Oh, yeah.
The one. When the 19-year-old thinks, "Oh, I want to go pipe." That'll make me look a bit more. It's
Yes.
a terrible error. It's a difficult time. You're finding yourself, I think, at university, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Those, of course, who don't go to university find it through binge drinking. But there are many. My father's house has many mansions.
Frank, we've had another email. This is from Jackie. She
Can I
says,
say that, by the way, the area I lived in near West Bromwich was called the Bronx.
Was it really?
Yeah, because we were closed for 2 weeks, closed off because of a bronchitis outbreak.
Wow.
And after that, it's known as the Bronx.
Came as the Bronx, yeah.
I would have sounded at home there today. Jackie
Yeah?
says, I just heard the news that there will be no more Merlin after the current series.
Can you believe that this has happened to me on the timing? I've just got into Merlin.
It's so hot right now as well.
It's really
I can't
on trend,
believe
isn't
it.
Yeah.
Well, because please, dear listener, Emily and Alan are all, have you seen Homeland? Have you seen The Wire?
Things that
And
are
all
on
that.
right now.
Yeah,
They've just
but
been made.
Merlin is on now.
It is on now.
And I've just got into it, series 5, I think it is, and I thought, I
Yeah.
love this. This is going to keep me going to my death. That's what I thought. And they've pulled it this week.
But Frank, you're going to have to find something else. I was thinking maybe Bergerac or Cadfire.
Oh, this is a brilliant... it's the thinking man's Game of Thrones.
Rosemary and Thyme?
Have you seen Merlin?
No, I saw a bit of it once.
No.
It looked a bit 7-year-old boys in Wisconsin, I told
thought
you.
I was going to... My next thing was to ask my manager to try and get me a part in it. After his terrible failure of getting me a part in Doctor Who. My manager is here today. I got him to phone up Doctor Who and say I would play any
Did you
part.
actually do that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm
He
so
did.
embarrassed.
And what
I'm
did they
so
say?
embarrassed.
I'll tell you what they said, because my manager told me this the other day. Spoke to the main person.
This is mortifying.
And she said that that she was really glad to hear that that's something I wanted to do. Full stop. Now, surely there needs to be another part to that statement, and thus we would like to offer, and thus we no. Something I'd like to do. Goodbye.
Frank, he's only told you about 30% of that conversation.
And I was
Let me tell you.
I was thinking I could be a brilliant in Merlin. I'm thinking as a plague victim. But it's too late. I've missed my window.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We're still sort of in email corner, Frank.
Yeah, we were just talking about the fact that this is not really an experiment. It's more of a magic trick. If you put crisp packets in the oven, how long would you do them? 4 days? Would you say?
I think it was about a minute.
Yeah, not
Oh,
for
I did
long.
it longer than that.
And they shrink.
At least 12.
But they don't shrivel. They shrink to tiny. I used to use it to simulate Action Man snack food. But
Yes.
Daisy made them into badges.
I made them, yes, into badges and then put them on my bleached denim jacket, Quo style.
What I should do is I've still got some crisp packets left from my Walker's Crisp Comic Relief campaign. I could make some lovely badges and sell them through my website as novelty merchandise.
Can I have the crisps out of those bags?
They've gone past their sell by now.
Don't bother me.
Okay, that's the spirit.
I'm in there.
What else? We're still in email corner,
still
I
in
think
email
you'll find.
corner, yes.
I can smell it. I can smell the incense.
Good morning, radio, brackets Mister, Cockerel and Dean. On listening to this week's podcast, the topic of road names which have been named after a celebrity, I remembered spotting an interesting road name when I was driving to a friend's house in Reading a couple of years ago, Ayrton Senna Road. This being an extremely odd name to have in Reading, I did some research and apparently he did actually live here, pre-Formula 1 legendary fame. Oh, and if Emily ever happens to be 40 miles down the M4,
Here we go.
I'd be more than happy to show her the delights of the Reading nightlife. That's from Chris. Thanks, Chris.
I find that kind of amazing that
Yeah.
Ayrton Senna used to live in Reading.
Did he really?
Well, also, it's amazing.
No, I
on-
think he did. He did live there.
Oh, okay.
No, I checked this out. He lived there because it was equidistant between the two big, where the two big teams are. Is it Williams and...
Oh, okay.
I don't know
Live
anything
in
about
McLaren
Formula
or
1.
something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But one of them's in Woking and one of them's...
Right. So he picked Reading.
So we picked Reading. I think he lived there about 2 years. Ayrton Senna lived in Reading.
And I like the fact that he picked it because it was equidistant. It gives him sort of an air of Alan Partridge or something.
It does. Yeah, but that's what car people are like.
This is the most convenient for
I watched that
Great.
film. I persuaded my girlfriend to watch Senna. Have you seen it, the documentary?
I haven't
No.
seen it.
It's a
no.
fabulous film, but she said, I'm not watching this, I'm not interested in cars. I said, I'm not interested in cars. What do you think I am? I've
you-
just heard it's a brilliant documentary.
I hope you said it in that tone as well.
It was great. Spoiler alert, actually. It was great. Spoiler alert.
About a racing car film.
It was,
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert, yeah. It was great that she didn't know he got killed.
Oh,
So
no.
it was a proper shock ending. She couldn't believe it.
Are you still clicking your pen?
No, I'm clicking my fingernails.
Oh, okay.
Oh, come on, it is my back. No, and we were watching it, and she said, he is a very beautiful man.
Oh, really?
God.
As I pointed out to her, if we were watching a documentary, you know, a sort of hard-hitting, fly-on-the-wall documentary about, say, Lucy Pinder, and I said, she is a very beautiful... I would never... hear the end of it. That would be the amount of stick I'd get.
You'd lose the use of your legs.
Yeah. But she'll often say something. In the street, she'll say, he was a very beautiful man. Which is, why is that fair?
Because you've had it your way about 2,000 years. It's our turn now. Sorry.
I mean, I daren't even mention Linda Lusardi again in our It's like a red rag to a bull.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
I have a pun alert coming up now.
Okay.
If I was to say to you, news story this week, headline, Marseille what? Say what? Say what? Joey Barton's French accent.
Oh, yes.
He was in Marseille, wasn't he?
He was.
And nobody seems to have seen the pun of Marseille.
Oh, no, we've seen it.
Say what?
Sorry, just to correct you, we've seen it.
All right, you two are a tough crowd today. You need to know that.
I feel a bit bilious now. I'm going to have to have a lie
Frank's got his Cadfile hoodie on, though.
Did you...
It's a in memoriam to Merlin. Can't believe they pulled Merlin. Even the kid who plays Merlin said, well, it's run its course.
Yeah,
sure.
He's thinking I'll jump ship now and then I'll get something for the sort of 20-something dude.
You know, is the life after Merlin?
Well, there might be work going on 2.5 Men. You never know.
He could rise from the ashes. Is that a different thing?
Yeah.
I was trying to do a pun thing again.
No, I wasn't. I was just thinking, you know...
Leave the puns
some kind
to
of
Tim
mythical
Vine.
creature.
He knows what he's doing.
That was the Phoenix.
Yeah.
He could rise like a phoenix, couldn't he?
This is so two blokes in a pub. This is so two blokes.
Can this conversation rise like a phoenix from the ashes? That's the question.
I mean, the Joey
I was
Barton one or the
sickened by
Merlin
that.
one?
He could have said this is a terrible mistake, but no, he said, no, it's run its course. Shut up.
But then if you don't, you kind of end up campaigning for a programme that's been cancelled. It always looks a bit needy, doesn't it?
Oh, no, it's so...
don't.
What can you
I know
say?
people that do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But Reggie Yates' Radio 1 show he's not doing it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I'm pursuing other projects.
Right.
Now, he might well be, and it might all be straight, but you don't say that, because that's what people say when they've been pushed.
Mm-hmm.
So don't say it. But when people say I'm pursuing other projects, they mean usually like a big jigsaw I've just bought.
I used to hate it when I was younger, and people would say, oh, I'm in something tonight, when I was sort of about 16.
Yeah, my mates used to say that as well.
And, you know, they'd say...
Sexist.
Frank! They'd say, can you ring up the BBC, speak to them and say how brilliant I was? You have to do it. Isn't that awful? I always refused.
Yeah. I know you did. And now look at me. Anyway, where were we? Joey
were
Barton.
with Joey Barton.
We were Marseille.
Oh, yeah.
He's been mocked, but isn't there a bit of it that's sort of quite
We should
nice
say,
of
so
him?
he was putting on a French accent for this
He
press
was
conference.
speaking in English, but in the French accent. He was
And
doing that
his
kind of thing.
defence was that he didn't think they'd understand the Scouse accent. So he spoke English in a French accent.
But he got the tenses wrong on purpose. He was using the present tense. He was going, I watched Lille yesterday.
Yeah.
Why was he using the present tense all
Well,
the time?
he went all the way.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't do the footballer's tense, which of course,
No.
which is I've looked up. I've seen the defender. He didn't do that. Steve McLaren, a former
Yes.
England manager, of course, famously did
The
this
Dutch.
when he went to it is difficult team. He started doing all that stuff. He's an enigmatic character, Joey Barton, though, isn't he? There's something very
I
interesting
quite love him now.
about Joey Barton. He can be a very horrible human being on the pitch, but a fascinating one off it.
I thought maybe
I'd
that
drink
was
to
it.
that.
Maybe that was it. Maybe he thinks that his sort of philosophy epithets they come across better in a French accent.
Well, he's probably
Perhaps
right
gonna-
about that. I looked at his tweet page,
Oh yeah.
and he said on it, "Can you do me a favour? From now on, all my tweets, can you read out in a French accent?"
Oh, good for
So,
him.
you know, he very much embraces it. But the one thing that put me off, was that it said at the you know, you write a thing at the top of the tweet thing.
Oh, yeah, your bio,
Your
yeah.
sort of
Right,
What is
yeah.
yours, Em?
Deputy editor / radio sidekick.
Yeah, but often it's like a phrase or something,
Yes,
isn't it?
yeah.
people
And his
got
was,
something
there is
smart.
only one thing worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about.
Right.
Of course, it's an Oscar Wilde quote. It's a bit tired.
We want anyone.
And also, it's not true.
No.
Because there's a lot of things be worse than being both talked about and not talked about. I mean, just off the top of my head, eczema is worse than both of those things. So have a rethink on that one, Joey.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were talking about Joey
Yes.
Barton, Frank.
Yeah. There was a really good thing on the website.
Oh, God, that's disgusting.
Sorry.
On the BBC website, on the story about Joey Barton doing the French accent, they had a psychologist woman who said one thing that might be going on is that Barton is adapting his speech style to sound French because he's in France. And I thought, well, thank you very much.
That's what experts are like, though, isn't it? Remember, we used to get those psychological experts on Big Brother who'd say, the reason that he looked upset then is because he was upset.
He's a bit angry.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, we were talking earlier about jobs we could do instead. I reckon I could do that.
Joey Barton,
He's in France.
he also did this thing where he'd pause as if he was about to say, "How you say?" Which
Yeah.
he didn't go that far, but he'd say, "It's a little bit boring."
Yeah.
With a question.
He did it well.
He did.
I suppose if you can't speak the language, it's the next best thing.
I
isn't
like it. I think it's endearing.
I do it all the time, 100%, whenever I'm talking to anyone. I was sat next to an Italian woman the other day and I did it totally. I was at dinner.
Really?
Yes. I did. I think I might have said "how you say" about 3 times as well.
Well, I do it when anyone asks me what my son is called. Because he's called Bars. I've found people say Bars. That's in my accent. I say, no, he's called Bars. Bars.
Yeah.
And then I say, no, I say Buzz to help them.
Oh, do you?
But I find myself saying, no, he's called Bars. I have to have a little run-up. No, he's called... No, silly. He's called Bars, don't you see? And the whole thing has to... So suddenly I have to go posh to say what my son's name is. I picked the wrong name,
Frank,
obviously.
have we got time for a quick tweet?
Shut up. I haven't finished talking about this yet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
The other thing on his tweet page,
Yes.
he retweeted a quote from Friedrich Nietzsche.
Yeah.
Did he? That's very Joey Barton, though.
It
he
is.
would have done
Is he trying a bit too hard?
No, I quite like that.
I wonder if he's hired a ghost intellectual to man his tweets.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway, the quote is, "We hear only those questions for which we are in a position to find answers."
He's a bit Cantonese or
I've
something.
got to say,
he's
Cantonese, yes.
I disagree
He's
with
a
that
bit
Nietzsche
Cantonese.
quote.
Yes, I do as well.
Do
I
you?
hear all sorts of questions.
I actually don't understand it, but that's okay.
Bear in mind, we only hear the questions we got answers for, is it, roughly speaking?
Oh, okay.
Well,
okay.
I've been to several pub quizzes that would
Well, exactly.
totally dispute that.
Yeah, you can't say, sorry, I didn't hear that.
You watch a lot of quizzes on the old television, don't you?
I guess everything. I absolutely guess. If there's one about Tibetan literature, who wrote the Fatih Hai? I'll go, Pei Hari. I'll have a guess at everything. If I ever get one, it'll be the best thing that's ever happened to me. That's all I'm saying.
Frank, I'd like to take us not into fashion corner. I'm going to call it hair corner.
Okay.
This is regarding KMids, the Duchess of Cambridge, who I'm a big fan of her work.
I have something to ask you about this.
Yeah, go on.
Go on.
She had a fringe cut this week.
Did she, though?
Well, I'm calling it a hinge. It's
See,
a half fringe.
It's exactly. They're all calling it a fringe. Kate's new fringe this and Kate's new fringe that.
It's no Max Wall. It's not a high fringe.
No, that
Did he
would
have
have been
a-
you.
He had a
have a
very
fringe?
high fringe.
Well, yeah, he was bald, I
Yeah.
would say. A fringe is, Jessie J has got a
Yeah.
woman when
Yes.
she's in her
Like a
geometric.
sort of Egyptian-y type thing.
Yeah, a fringe is a straight down piece of hair covering the forehead.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
okay, Nicky Clark.
What she's done is she's let it grow a bit long and it's a bit floppy around the front.
She has a side fringe. It's a hinge. It's fine.
Have you got one? Is
Yeah,
that-
I've got a hinge, bit of a half fringe.
See, I would never call that a fringe in a million years.
Okay.
But I would say that you've got the same thing that the newspapers have been going mad about Kate for having. They've been really excited about it, haven't they?
If
Really
she had
excited.
if she had a proper fringe, I think that would be extremely insensitive, given the state of her husband's hair.
Well, this
Well,
is
he's
it.
losing it more, isn't he, now?
I think that's why she's grown hers, to make the headlines. Nobody's looking at his.
I think on the stamps she's going to comb her straight across straight across his.
Hers is a bit 70s. Yeah, I quite like it.
Yeah, I don't like it as much.
Oh,
I think
okay.
she's got a pretty face, Kate. Don't hide it away.
Okay.
I think she should have a little sort of elf in Julie Covington in Rock Follies type of a haircut.
Oh.
Google it.
But you know, they were saying that now
Ashley,
she's
Google it.
all the lookalikes have got to run out and do the same. There was some complaining because obviously they have to keep up with her look.
They have to look. You could have fun, couldn't you, doing that?
Oh yeah.
You could just gel it into a big point, and all the lookalikes have to go and do it.
Jedward did.
This was a big problem with the David Beckham lookalikes. They couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
No. Who can? Frank, do you know, actually, I had a couple of lookalikes in...
Did you? What,
okay.
Emily Dean lookalikes?
No, they were Brad and Angie lookalikes, and they came into the InStyle offices this week. They were promoting something. Oh, it was a bit tragic, Frank. They had cupcakes or something, but the evening wear looked a bit stained. I mean, she was a good lookalike, but then she left a hair extension on the floor as well.
Oh, dear.
That was depressing.
Molting.
And Brad had scuff shoes.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you can't... They're not going to be the same. They're going to be similar.
No, but there are presentation problems with the lower end of the food chain.
Oh, come now. That's a bit cruel.
The lookalike circuit, I mean.
I
don't need these people personally. I don't need to worry about them.
I worked with the Karl Marx lookalike.
Did you? You've worked with them all.
And I
Did
said,
you?
is there much money in Karl Marx? He said, I do seasonal work as Father Christmas.
Oh, good for him.
Oh.
Terrible clash of capitalism and communism.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We've had a tweet, haven't we?
We have.
I know.
Why do you say it with such a sense of grim foreboding
No,
in
I
your
think
voice?
I feel that the 21st century has burst into the room. I'm excited about it.
This is from Ella. She says she's been matching the @Frank on Absolute team to fictional characters. Peter Pan equals Frank. Scarlett O'Hara equals Divine Miss M. That's my Twitter handle.
Hold on, Peter Pan equals Frank.
Well, I'll tell you her reason in a minute.
Okay.
And Alun is a lovable Scrooge.
Whoa.
So, the reasons are, I decided Peter Pan for Frank because he would look...
Let me guess, is it because on stage I'm always portrayed by an adult woman?
No, because he would look rather fine in that green outfit and has the twinkly eyes of youth forever.
Means I'll be able to hide in snooker halls.
Mm-hmm. Very
M
good.
as Scarlett O'Hara, both ladies with attitude that know the difference the right dress can make.
Scarlett O'Hara, we should explain to our listeners who don't know, that's the main character from Gone with the Wind,
A spoilt Southern belle.
whose catchphrase was "Tomorrow is another day," which
Yeah.
was the forerunner of the brief history of time in which of which Stephen Hawking expanded.
Absolutely more. I was just advertising another one of the French Absolute
good.
stations. Joey Barton's one of the
That'd be
DJs.
good, wouldn't it? Absolutely. I'd tune into
Joey
that.
Barton could be the breakfast host. And then finally, Alan will be Scrooge because he likes a bargain, a rant and an occasional sneer. There we go.
Yeah, it's the lovable bit I've got a problem with.
Fair enough. Yes, poor old
Alan.
Alan.
Poor old Alan, yeah, that's how that ends.
Feel bad about that. So I've got guess what I'm going to do Wednesday night?
What?
I'm going to see The Fall.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, they're playing in Islington in London. So,
in a shed.
obviously, if you say hello, don't speak to me for too long, or I'll start running around like the Tasmanian devil. That'll be terrible. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. It's been lovely talking to you all. Have a fabulous week. Goodbye.
This is
Frank Skinner,